Good morning, students. This is KG Misra, and again I have come with the first chapter of physics of class 10th. Okay, although in class 10th there is a subject that is science, but science is again bifurcated into physics, chemistry, and biology, so that focused emphasis can be given. Okay, on specialized areas by the specialized teachers or experts, okay, so that the students can have a better understanding of the course, and they can have the practical understanding and they can apply it. Okay, they can focus on the applicability part of it. Okay, because science is a practical subject. Okay, if it is studied and understood and it is not applied, then it is of no use, then it's better to not study. Okay, so application is very important. Now see, the first chapter of class 10th, from where it is started, that is electricity. We have got total 5 chapters in physics of class 10th. First, electricity, then second is magnetic effects of current, third is sources of energy, okay, fourth one is the light reflection and refraction, and fifth one is human eye. So there are 5 chapters in total in physics of class 10th. And here there is the first chapter, that is electricity. Now before discussing about electricity, I would like to explain to you the fundamental things behind it. Okay. Otherwise you will find in the book it starts from the electricity only. But before electricity, you may know what is charge and how the bodies get charged. What are the properties of charge? And that is required. When the children ask the question to their teachers, many times they get the answer, oh, this is not in your syllabus. You will study in class 12th. But time has changed. Okay? They must know. You must know it. Okay? So first thing, the basic thing which you know, from there I will start. My dear children, all of you know that the substance are made up of atoms. There are elements, and the smallest particle of an element which we call as atom, okay, which takes part in chemical reaction, that you have studied in chemistry part. Now suppose I have taken an atom. What is there at the center of the atom? You say it is positively charged nucleus is there. Who discovered this? Rutherford. By which experiment? Obviously, alpha particle scattering experiment. Okay. Now, this nucleus is surrounded by different various orbits, in which electrons used to revolve around the nucleus. Okay. Now, suppose we take an example of certain atom. Suppose let us take an example of a sodium atom. What is atomic number of sodium atom? Obviously, atomic number means number of electrons in a neutral atom or number of protons. Okay, and that is 11 over here. What is the mass number of sodium atom? Mass number? Mass number is the sum of number of protons plus number of neutrons. So it is sum of number of protons and number of neutrons, or you can see number of neutrons plus number of protons plus number of neutrons is called mass number. Okay, so it is found to be 23. Okay, that means how many electrons are there, or how many protons are there first? It is 11. How many electrons are there? It is 11. How many neutrons are there? It is 12. Okay, and what is atomic number? Atomic number is denoted by atomic number. It is denoted by Z. Mass number, it is denoted by A. Okay. Now, what is atomic number? Atomic number, I have told you, it is number of protons. Okay, very fairly we can say it is number of protons. But if you want to express in number of electrons, then you have to use one word in a neutral atom. Neutral atom means whose all the electrons are intact. Okay, neither it has taken from anyone nor it has given to anyone. Okay, for that type of atom, it can be number of electrons also. Now, what is mass number? Mass number is sum of protons and neutrons. So you just add these two. What you will get? See, 10 plus 10, 20. 1 plus 2, 3. 23. That is mass number. Okay. Now, you have studied about this distribution of electrons in different orbits. Okay. And we know that in first orbit, how many electrons are possible? 2. So out of 11, we have kept 2 here in the first orbit. In second orbit, maximum possibilities of 8. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it is completely filled. Now, we cannot have more than 8 in the second orbit. How much is left? 8 plus 2, it is 10. 1 is left. So 1 we can keep in the outermost orbit. And this electron is called valence electron. The outermost electron is called valence electron. Now, we know that it is the law of nature that everything tries to get the stability, Even you can see, if I am trying to erect this chalk like this, what you will find? It has fallen. And now, is it falling further? No, not at all. Why? Because see, its energy has become minimum. So when the things become stable, when their energy is at the minimum level. Okay? And then they become stable. So everything wants to be in stable state, lower energy state. Okay? That is the law of nature. And that's why you see that things are falling, and after falling they are stable at a particular position. That is the reason. Because once they gain their stability, they remain like that only. If they are not gain their stability, they will again fall. And they will keep on falling till they are gaining their stability. Okay? So these atoms also try to gain stability, and how they gain stability, what is the condition for gaining stability, when we say that they are stable, the condition for stability is that when they acquire octave state. You might have heard what is octave state, you might be knowing it, okay, but then also I will tell you. See, octave state means in the last orbit they must have 8 electrons. Okay. Now how they acquire that 8 electrons? Either they are having by themselves, that is the case of noble gases, okay, like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. They are all having their outermost orbit filled completely, okay. And who are not having, what they do? They used to react with each other, and that's why the reaction takes place and the chemistry comes into play. Okay. And in reaction, what they do? Either they used to donate the electrons, take the electron, or give the electron. Okay. Or they share the electrons. Okay. So here, for this atom, that is sodium, just tell me, it has got 1 electron. Will any atom who has got 7 electrons will try to give 7 electrons to it? No way. So it has got only one way. It will leave this electron, and what will happen? This orbit will be over. As this orbit will be over, what will happen? This orbit will become the outermost orbit. And how many electrons it is having? 8. So it will acquire the stable state. So that is the only easiest way it has got to become stable. And that's why it loses 1 electron. Now, let me tell you, the charge on each electron is how much? Charge, and charge. See, charge on each proton is how much? It is plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Coulomb is the unit of charge. Okay. Here, every electron has got how much? Minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. And charge on a neutron is 0 because it is neutral. Many of the students get confused with this minus sign. Don't worry, this is not indicating the nature of charge. No, it is just indicating the value. This sign is important. This sign indicates that this proton has got the positive charge, and this sign indicates, see here, the same amount of negative charge an electron is having. So when we are putting a proton and electron together, what will happen? Let's see. An electron is there and a proton is there. We are putting them together. So electron has got charge how much? Minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. What is the charge of a proton? It is plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. What will happen? Plus minus cancel out and we will have 0. So they will become neutral. They will combine together and form a neutral body. In the same way, my dear children, in case of this sodium, what is the number of electrons? It is 11. What is the number of protons? It is 11. So what is the total charge on it? So when we are talking about that, we can say the negative charge it is having, that is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into 11. Okay. What is the positive charge it is having? Plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into 11. And you can find both the values are equal, only the sign is opposite. So net charge we are going to get 0. And that's why this sodium atom is neutral. Okay. Now in order to become stable, as we have discussed, what it will do? It will do one thing. It will lose one electron, and now it will have how many electrons? 10 electrons. Okay. Because it has lost one electron. So what will happen to it? Let's see. As it is losing one electron, so what we can say now, initially it was neutral. Okay. Because all the negative charge of electrons were balanced by the positive charge of protons. Now as one electron has gone down, so now total negative charge is this much. So will it be 0? No, not at all. So what will get? We can say 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 we can take common. With plus how much we are having? 11 we are having. With minus how much we are having? 10. We will get this much. And 11 minus 10 is how much? It is 1, and that is positive, because 11 is positive and it is greater. So we will get 1, that is positive. So positive 1 into this much, it will remain this much positive. That means we will get what? I am going to rub this. That means we will get plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. You can subtract 10 out of 11, you will get plus 1. And so this much. So it is equal to the charge of one proton. So we can understand in this way that once one electron is given out by a sodium atom, so its 10 remaining electrons are balancing the positive charge of 10 protons only, okay, by their negative charge. So 10 electrons by their negative charge, they are balancing the positive charge of 10 protons. But they are not able to balance the positive charge of 11th proton. Okay, because the electron which was balancing the negative, positive charge of 11th proton, that has been given out. So due to that, what happens? It acquires a positive charge over here. Okay. So what we have seen, when the sodium acquired positive charge, when it has given out the electron. Okay. So that means, yes, now question may arise. You may ask, sir, protons cannot be given out? No. Because see, my dear children, the force which is holding these protons and neutrons together, that is called strong nuclear force. It is called strong nuclear force. And it is the strongest force in the nature. So whatever natural forces are there, out of that, this is the strongest force. I can give you a data so that you can have a feel of it. Let me tell you, it is 10 to the power 38 to 39. Okay, 38 to 39, or 10 to the power 38 or 10 to the power 39 times stronger than the gravitational force. Now I think you have got an idea how much strong it is. So it is holding those particles together, and these particles are called nucleons. Like see, people living in Japan are called Japanese, people living in China are called Chinese, people living in India are called Indians. In the same way, the particles living in the nucleus are called nucleons, and they are being held by strong nuclear force, which is the strongest natural force, and that's why it cannot come out and they cannot be exchanged. Okay, so there is only exchange of electrons, and whoever loses the electron becomes positively charged. Okay, and then what about whoever accepts the electron? Let's see. This you understood? Should I rub? Written. Okay. Let us go to the another element, atom of another element that we call as chlorine. Okay. So that we can study, understand and generalize our fact. So generalization of fact is very important, especially in science. So this is our nucleus, which is obviously positively charged, having all the protons and neutrons, and these are the orbits around it. Okay, and this is the atom of another element which we call as, let it be, chlorine. Okay, what is atomic number of chlorine? It is 17. What is its mass number? Obviously it is 35. Okay, 35.5 or sometimes 36 also. Actually different isotopes are there. Some are having 36, some are having 37. Okay, like that. So you can say suppose it is 36. Okay. Now what will happen? We are not interested in this mass number. We are interested in atomic number. So it has got how many protons? It has got 17 protons. Okay, what is total charge on it? 17 into plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. How many electrons are there? Initially 17. What is the total charge? 17 into minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This much total charge it is there. And you can see the total positive charge equal to total negative charge. So they will balance each other. So it is neutral. As 17 electrons are there, we can arrange them in the orbit. 2 can be here in the first orbit. 8 can be there in the second orbit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But 17 is there. So 8 plus 2, 10. How much left? 7. So 7 we can keep here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So how many it requires to complete the octet? 1. So suppose the electron which sodium has given out, that is absorbed by this chlorine, because that is the easiest way to do. Okay. So once it is absorbing, what will happen? It will have how many electrons? Obviously it will have 18 electrons. So what is the total negative charge on it? Yes, it is having net charge 18 into 10 minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay, coulomb. What is the positive charge due to protons? It is 17 because the number of protons remains same, plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay, coulomb. If you add them, what you get? We can take 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 as common. Okay, this minus sign will go with this 18, so we will have minus 18 plus 17. Minus 18 plus 17 is how much? Obviously it is minus 1. So minus 1 will multiply with this, so we will get minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So what we are getting? We are getting a negative charge equal to negative charge of 1 electron. So we can say that when chlorine is absorbing one extra electron, so its total tally of electron becomes 18. Initially what was there? 17 electrons were there, 17 protons were there. So all the 17 protons with their positive charge, they were balancing all the negative charge of 17 electrons. But as the number of electrons increased by 1, now also 17 protons with their positive charge are able to balance the negative charge of 17 electrons. But what about the 18th electron? In order to balance the negative charge of 18th electron, they don't have 18th proton. So that extra electron will cause negative charge over this chlorine. So when it has absorbed this electron, it has become negatively charged. Okay. So what you found? How the things are getting charged? Obviously due to exchange of electrons. And whoever gives out the electron becomes positively charged, and whoever receives the electron becomes negatively charged. Okay? Clear? Understood? Whoever gives out the electron becomes positively charged, and whoever receives the electron becomes negatively charged. That is the main concept of the things getting charged. See, our next heading is charge. What is charge actually? How bodies get charged, that I already have told you. Now just tell me one thing. You know, mass is a physical quantity, charge is also physical quantity. What is mass? Mass is the material content in the body. Suppose a chair is there which is made up of plastic. So by seeing it you can see, yes, it is made of plastic, you can see it, okay? And the amount also you can just predict. But can you predict the amount of charge by seeing a body? No. Why no? Obviously because it is internal property. Like see, you can by seeing you can see say okay, this person is no tall and its height is more, okay, or the person is fair or not fair, whatever is there, okay. But at the same time, can you tell that yes, what is the thought of that person? No. So that means the hardware part you can predict, but software part is very difficult. In the same way, we cannot predict the amount of charge. So charge is which type of property or which type of quantity? It is intrinsic, means internal quantity or internal property. And what is it? How it helps? See, it charge helps actually to in the electrical property of material. Like see, we know that conductors are conducting. Why they are conducting? Because they have got some free electrons. That is, they have got free charge. In class 8, you have studied that, no? Oster's experiment was there. In that, what you saw? Compass needle was kept under a current carrying conductor, and as soon as the current flows through the conductor, the compass needle feels force. And what was the conclusion? Conclusion was that a current carrying conductor behaves as a magnet. So, due to charge only, the conductor is able to carry current. So, its electrical property is there due to charge. And when it is carrying current, it behaves as a magnet. So, magnetic property is due to current and current is due to charge. So, magnetic property is also due to charge. Okay. So, charge is the reason for magnetic property as well as electrical property. So, including this all, we can define the charge. Start writing. The intrinsic property of a material, due to which it possesses its electrical and magnetic behavior, is called charge. Full stop. It is a scalar quantity. Means it doesn't have direction. Okay. It is a scalar quantity denoted by small q oblique capital Q. Means you can denote it by small q or you can denote it by capital Q. Doesn't matter. Okay. You are free to do that. It is denoted by small q oblique capital Q and has SI unit coulomb, that is denoted by capital C. Actually, there was a scientist, after his name only this name was given. Okay, this name unit was named, and it is coulomb, and it is denoted by capital C. Okay, the unit is denoted by capital C. The quantity is denoted by Q. small q or capital Q. So that was about charge. Now what are the properties of this charge? So our next heading will be properties of charge. Let me run this, then we will go to the properties of charge. Okay, see what is the first property. See, first property of charge is that no. First you can write. Then I will explain. Okay. Charges are of two types. Charges are of two types. Comma. Charge found on a proton is called positive charge. Charge found on a proton is called positive charge. And charge found on an electron is called negative charge. Okay. So whatever charge is found in on a proton, that nature of charge we can say as positive charge, and whatever charge is found on an electron, that nature of charge we say as negative charge. We have not written that there are charges of two types, negative and positive, because see, it means that one charge is positive, one charge is negative. What? Whatever we have written, that also means the same? No. See, actually when charge was discovered, then it was found that no, the two charges are of different nature. Different nature means not different, I should say it is opposite nature. And whenever two things are having an opposite nature, what the people say in society? You might have heard someone saying, oh, it's both the children, no, they have got totally opposite nature. If one is north and another is south. Okay? You might have heard this conversation of your parents or the elder ones. Okay? Then why this name was not given to these charges when they had opposite nature? Because that might have indicated their opposite nature more clearly. Yes, my children, that was not given because the concept of magnetic pole was already there, and they had those poles. Due to their opposite nature, that name was given to them, the north and south. And that's why people were searching for a concept of new pair of names which will indicate the opposite nature. Okay, so one is given positive name as positive charge, another is given name as negative charge. And this positive and negative doesn't mean one is positive and another is negative. No, one is plus and another is minus. No, it just indicates that the nature of both charges is exactly opposite. And when it is, then you may come up with a question, sir, if it is exactly opposite, then how they are able to balance? If we are suppose having minus 10 coulomb charge and plus 10 coulomb charge, we say it is balanced because mathematically we can see it is 0. But then how it can balance? See, it is a matter of concept. We write in this way, we just represent in this way. But what is truth? Let me tell you. Suppose you have two friends. Your one friend is, no, it becomes angry. Often, okay, becomes very angry. But your other friend is very cool and calm. Okay, what will happen? Will there be any fight between them? No. If that one friend becomes angry, if the other friend is cool and calm, what will happen? The situation will be under control, and finally, once the first friend becomes cool, no, they will understand. Okay, he will become cool after some time. May utter a few words and then will silent, and then both will cope up with the situation. Okay. So what happened? The nature of first friend was balanced by the nature of the second friend. Although there is nothing like negative and positive, but their nature was opposite. That's what happens with the case of charge. Okay. Next, second property is Write the second property. Like charges repel each other. Like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. See, like charges means if both are positive, then what will happen? They will repel each other. If both are negative, then what will happen? Again they will repel each other. If one is positive and is negative, then they will attract each other. Okay? That's what happens with the charges. That's what the second point means. Third, it is, start writing, it follows the law of conservation. It follows the law of conservation. Okay, now question arises how it follows the law of conservation. So just put a dash sign over there and then start writing. In case of an isolated system, don't worry, just write, I will explain, okay. In case of an isolated system or body, net charge remains conserved. Net charge remains conserved. Net charge remains conserved, comma, although there may be transfer of charge, from one part of the body to the other part. Although there may be transfer of charge from one part of the body to the other part. See, what does it means? First I will tell you what is isolated body or system. See, if suppose you have got a body, if this is a body, or this is a system, means it has got lots of bodies inside it. Suppose this is a body, and 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 this is another body. Lots of bodies are there in the system. Okay. Where we can say it is isolated? See, we can say it is isolated only when neither it is accepting the charge from outside, nor it is giving any charge to the surrounding. So, neither it is accepting, nor it is giving out. So that means we can say in one word, it is not going to exchange any charge with the surrounding. Neither going to exchange any charge, nor it is going to exchange any mass, because it is not exchanging matter also. That's the meaning of isolated system or isolated body. As it is not exchanging any charge, neither taking nor giving, so what will happen? Obviously, whatever charge is there with it, that will remain same. Okay? So I think first part is clear. Now second part of that. Suppose here it is minus 20 coulomb charge is there, here minus 40 coulomb charge is there, here plus 80 coulomb charge is there, here minus 10 coulomb charge is there, here plus 40 coulomb charge is there. Now what is the total charge of this body? Yes, we can write like this, minus 40 minus 20, minus 60 and minus 10, minus 70. Minus 70 plus 80, plus 10 plus 40. So plus 50 coulomb charge. Plus 50 coulomb charge is there on this body. Okay? Because all the negatives we can add separately. Because we know that negative plus negative is added. Okay? So it is minus 70 coulomb. And all the plus, that is 80 plus 40, 120. And then you can do one thing. 120 is positive, 70 is negative. So 120 minus 70. So you will get 0, 0. Out of 12, you subtract 7, 5. So plus 50 coulomb is the net charge on this body. Now you do one thing. We very well know that it cannot exchange charge with the surrounding. But one thing can happen, no? If suppose you are connecting these two with a conductor, with a wire, so what will happen? Conductor is to conduct the charge. So this negative minus 40 coulomb charge will come here. It will leave its place As it will leave its place, so there is no charge anymore because it has left its place. And it has come here and it has combined with this 80 coulomb positive charge. So when you are combining this with 80 coulomb positive charge minus 40 coulomb charge, what will happen? You will left with plus 40 coulomb charge only. So this minus 80 will, plus 80 will become how much? Only plus 40. Now tell me what is the net charge on the body. You can see minus 20, minus 10, minus 30, minus 30 plus 40 is how much? Plus 10, plus 10 and plus 40 is plus 50. Still it is plus 50 only. So that means total charge has not changed. That means we can say that total charge remains conserved or constant even though inside the body, between the different parts, the charge is getting transferred. Okay. Actually, I explained this to a group of students and a student came with a question. Sir, how it is possible that a body, different parts of a single body can have different charge? Yes, it's a good question. Obviously, if the body is conducting, then it is not possible because once you are giving charge to any part of that conducting body, it will get transmitted throughout. Okay. So we cannot have separate charges in separate part of a conducting body. But if it is insulating body, like a wooden piece, okay, obviously whatever charge you are giving to a particular region, it will remain there only. It cannot be transmitted throughout the body. Why? Because it is bad conductor of charge or electricity. Okay, so in that case it is possible. Clear? So that was law of conservation of charge, which it is following. Now, fourth one, charge has got additive nature. Charge has got additive nature. Now, what does it means? Just put a dash over that, after that, and start writing. It means that the net charge on a body, it means that the net charge on a body or a system is algebraic sum of the charges, algebraic sum of the charges present on its different parts, Now see, what does it mean actually? Let me tell you. Suppose there is a system of bodies or a body is there, and here it has got 20 coulomb charge, okay. Here it has got plus 40 coulomb charge, here minus 10 coulomb charge, here minus 60 coulomb charge, okay. Now what will happen? What is the total charge? See, we can do the sum in two ways. One, we can write 20 plus 40 plus 10 and plus 60. This is simply sum. How much we are going to get? 20 plus 40, 60, 60 plus 10, 70, 70 plus 60. It is 130. So 130 coulomb charge we are going to have. There is another type of sum. Minus 20 plus 40 minus 10 minus 60. What you will get? See, minus 20 plus 40 is plus 20. Plus 20 minus 10 is plus 10. Plus 10 minus 60 is plus 50. Minus 50. So minus 50. Okay. So minus 50 coulomb charge we are getting here. Now, this is just a sum and this is called algebraic sum. When we add the quantities by considering their sign, see, sign we have considered, sign we have considered, sign we have considered, sign we have considered. By considering the sign of the quantities, we add them, then it is called algebraic sum. Okay. So if you want to find out the net charge on a body, then you have to add them by considering the algebraic sign, their sign, okay, and that is called algebraic sum. And whatever quantities following this algebraic sum are said to following additive property, okay, or are said to be having additive nature. Clear? So that is all about this additive nature of charge. Now, fifth one. Before writing this, or you can write this first, okay. quantization of charge. You can note it down. It is quantization of charge. Now just put a dash and start writing. It states that the charge Q on any body, the charge Q on any body is the integral multiple of fundamental charge E. This is called fundamental charge. Don't think that it is electron. No. Okay, it is fundamental charge. It is symbol for fundamental charge. And what is value of E? In bracket you can write it is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This value of charge we denote by E. See, we don't have any positive or negative sign over here. It is just the value. Okay, integral multiple of fundamental charge E, and then bracket you can write down this. Now, see what we have written. We have written Q is equals to integral multiple. Integral means, you know, integers are plus minus of whole numbers, and E is there. Okay. This expression has come from this quantization of charge. Now what does this quantization of charge means? You know, quantization, when we are pronouncing or hearing this word, it is very heavy word, no? And it is a new also to all of you. But there is nothing new. You know, the charging takes place due to exchange of electrons. Now you tell me, suppose there are two bodies. Here a body A is there, and here a body B is there. Okay? Suppose body B has received one electron. Then how much charge it will have? Obviously, it will have minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb of charge. Okay? Because one electron contains that much charge. Initially it was neutral and it has received one electron, so it will have this much of negative charge. Now what does this value known as? This is fundamental charge E. So we can we write this is equals to minus E. Okay, so this much charge this body B is having. Now suppose it is receiving 10 electrons, then how much charge it will have? Obviously minus 10 E. Agree? Now if it is receiving 100 electrons, then how much charge it is going to have? It is going to have minus 100 E. Okay. Now we will generalize this fact. Okay. Suppose it is receiving n electron, then how much charge it is going to have? Minus n E. All of you agree to me? Okay. So we have got that if it is receiving n electrons, then it is going to have minus n E charge. Now let us come to the body A. It has lost one electron. As it has lost one electron, what will happen? One of the proton will remain unbalanced, its charge will remain unbalanced. Initially it was neutral, so as it has lost one electron, so how much positive charge it is going to have? Plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. That is equal to the charge of a proton. But what about this number? This number is called E, the fundamental charge. So what we can write? Plus this much charge it will acquire. Now if it is losing 10 electrons, then how much charge it will have? Obviously it will have plus 10 E charge. If it is losing 100 electrons, then how much charge it will have? Obviously plus 100 E. Now let's go to the generalization of fact. If it is losing n electrons, then how much positive charge it will acquire? Plus Ne. Okay. Now see, whatever charge a body is having, it has acquired by losing the electron or maybe accepting the electron. We don't know. So what we will do? Whatever charge this body is acquired, that is equal to this much. Whatever charge this body has acquired, that is equal to this much. But if a charged body is there in front of us, then what will happen? It may have positive charge or negative charge, we don't know exactly. But it is having charge, no? So we combine these two cases. And what we write? Plus minus n. Okay? Clear? Now where you have written this expression, there you can write where n is equals to 1, 2, 3, dot. Okay? Means n, the value of n will depend on the number of electrons accepted or given out. And why we are writing 1, 2, 3, why we are not writing the fraction? Why it cannot be fraction? Because just tell me, is it possible that one body can give out half electron? No, not at all. Or the other body receives half electron? Not possible. Okay? So if as it is not possible, so minimum it can give one electron. Another body can receive minimum one electron. So minimum charge will be n is equals to 1. If it is given out the electron, then plus sign will come. If it has accepted the electron, then negative sign will come. Like due to this. Okay? And then if it has given out 2 electrons, then plus 2. If it has accepted 2 electrons, then minus 2. Getting my point? So in this way we can go on. This is the quantization of charge. Okay? That's all for the properties of charge. Now, on the next video, I will come with some other concepts. Okay? Like charging, how the charging is done. All the basic concept already we have discussed. Okay? And then we will go to the Coulomb's law, and gradually we will move ahead to the other topics which are there in your book. Till then, thank you, take care, and keep on studying.